So the Getae of Dacia in Rome 2 would probably like to sell itself as a spear-oriented faction, as it does have a lot of spear units. However, its spear units it does have are awful. It does have, unlike other Bob factions, it does have shock cavalry and horse archers. It has quite good, it shares with Galatia, heavy archers, it's got good skirmishers. The way it's played mostly is as an elite spam, so having those noble swords. It does have low tier shock infantry in the Falksmen, which are identifiable by their giant Falks weapon and their bare chest for half the time. They lack any mid tiers whatsoever, which really hinders them a lot. Their noble swords are very, very good. Their Asian heavies are cost-effective archers. To fill in that gap, they do have higher end low tiers, like the Merc Axe Warriors you can get 4 of. And they do have, personal favourite of mine, quite a cost-effective Spear Horseman unit in the pack there. One of the shield here, the Spear, 3550 being heavy. Oh yeah, that's the basic summary of Getae in the opening stages. Very much elite spam like, lack of mid tiers, versatile cavalry and skirmishers, though there is no slingers, you will notice. But we'll go meet them individually now. So, we'll kick it off with the Spear Warriors. Actually, well, I guess Spear Warriors, I guess the Spear's on the other side. For 300, the second cheapest unit, actually third cheapest if you count the missiles, you know, the Dacian roster, or Getae roster, sorry. They have good melee defense, really good bonuses is large, 7 AP on the Spear, okay charge bonus, good armor and some health as of ability, good morale, abysmal attack. But for 300, this is a really, really good unit. It does like javelins, it won't kill other low tiers. What it's there for is to be used with your noble swords. They're very good battle buddies due to that survivability. And they have a good anti-cav spear if cavalry were to get caught out by them. They'd start to fall away very, very quickly. I'd always recommend bringing 2 or 3 of these guys if you can afford them. They cost 300. Very, very good. The regular spears retain that spear, but are downgraded on every level. Still retaining good melee defense, though. For 220, they do have the armor and health. The melee defense, basically a Levy Freeman with higher mass, but lack of javelins for 10 more. But you have no other choice other than bringing a few of these guys as Getae, as they are an elite spam. So, especially on attack. Especially on attack. I'd always recommend bringing a few of these guys, and some of the Spear Warriors as well. 2 lower end units. These guys, expensive. Falksman. It's a shock infantry, as you can see, 48 charge bonus, getting on par with some low end shock cav there, nearly. No survivability, no melee defense. 15 AP, is it? No, 14 armor piercing, 38 attack, 48 charge. Huge offensive values. If these guys get a charge off, whatever's in front of them will take a huge amount of damage, even if they're not necessarily killed. The HP damage would be amazing. Like, for 320, if you get a couple of these guys on defense, there will be a target of arrows, sure. But 3 of these guys is 960. So you can have some fun and experiment around with them. Mercenary Axe Warriors. I've gone over them before. 470, you can bring a couple of these as Getae. 2 or 3. We don't really see anyone other than new players bring 4. Unless to be against Peeler Spam, then I'd recommend bringing 4. Good survivability, good morale, 10 AP because they are Axe Warriors. Good melee attack. Okay charge, okay defense. Overall, good unit for 470. Somewhat vital to the Getae, though some comps do go without them. The Getae is one of those factions where you can mix and match a little bit to see what works best for you. Typically, I'd bring 1 or 2 of these guys depending on the faction I am facing. Armored and heavy spears don't really deserve much time. They're not worth it for 480 and 580 respectively, I believe. The survivability is good, the cav count is nice. Shield screen is poor. Both have good charge and melee defense. They scale quite nicely with each other in terms of price, but you're never going to bring them because they suck. Like, no killing power on either of these units, no javelins either to compensate. Don't bring them, and that's where I'm going to leave it as. Noble Spears also don't bring. Once again, it's got good charge and melee defense and survivability. It's got all the good stats, but it hasn't got the elite spear and it's got a shield screen. And it does get expert charge and cav counter, so there's that. Though for 1100, you're better off playing 160 more for the noble swords, which have killing power, more charge, the same survivability, hate hunt, shield wall, the 45 damage sword of 5 armor piercing, huge offensive values for 1260. You're going to be ringing probably at least 6, maybe even 7 on attack. These guys are really, really good. You always bring them as Getae. If you don't, you're throwing the game because I don't know what you're bringing. So, always spam noble swords, defense and attack. Dax Warriors are more viable in defense, though, I will say that. Station Skirmishers, a nice cheap Javi. They aren't the best, but 300, you get what you pay for. You do get the survivability, there is that. So, I'd always recommend a unit of Dacian Skirmishers to anyone, if you want that extra javelins, in case of facing ODK or Iceni, once again. Dacian Heavies, sort of ordered these out in a bit of a weird way, but Dacian Heavy Bowman, just gonna move them back slightly. Dacian Heavy Bowman you always bring, typically at least 3, because they are your heavy archers. They beat other archers in melee just, because if you look at those melee stats, it's something. They have 30 armor on par of the Cretans, though 10 less health. No heavy shot, no 40 damage. They do get quick reload, cost 440, always bring at least 3. Always bring them. Dacian Bowman, 280. You can bring one of these guys, maybe 2, depends on the comp and depends on what you're facing. But they do just support that additional firepower if you need it. Well, if you that additional firepower, not if you need it. They do support the additional firepower if you're looking to save money for nobles. The same damage output really if they get all their ammo off as the Dacian Heavy. They just lack melee stats, armor, and range, and quick reload for 280. It's not bad, low to Archer, because it's really just bog standard. There's nothing special about it. They're just there. Then moving to their 2 good skirmishers, I say good, but like their upper end skirmishers. Dacian Heavy Skirms are 480, no 450, sorry. If you want the armor and that 40 weapon damage is big, they're very survivable, very good in melee. I'd recommend these guys a lot if you're facing a faction that is more ranged focus, such as Epirus. However, if you are not, you would probably opt for the Merc Thracian Pelters for 480. Once again, good in melee with a 10 AP weapon, I will show you. They have low armor, because they are Thracian, really high damage. So you're contrasting these guys, you're looking for damage or armor. So in combat, I'd say they're probably roughly the same. They're both a quick reload and fire shot. These guys just cost 30 more. It depends what you're facing. If you're facing Pergamon or something like that, Dacian Heavy. Assuming you're playing with +1 rules. If you're not, Thracian. We'll move on to the cavalry. Let's just start with the noble horsemen. Honestly, for 1270, they're not as good as other elite shot cav for that price mark. They're not a bad unit either. They're just a bit of a price in my opinion. They do have the bad lance, the lower charge bonus, so they do have okay survivability, really high melee attack, good health, good morale. These guys will kill a lot if they can get into enemy archers, or even just infantry for that matter, though you're sacrificing a noble sword to get one of them. That's the problem with these guys. I'd imagine you could probably bring one against Saba or something like that, because I'd imagine they would do okay against them. Because they're camels, but if you're going to bring one, don't bring more than one, because you're sacrificing a lot of nobles. But not a bad unit overall. Be aware they also unshielded, so any shot that lands will do damage. Now you got 2 missile cav, bow horsemen, very slow, as I will show you. Compared to other missile cav, both are light. Both are light. But you will see the bow horsemen are slow. Look at that. They are slower than the mercenary Thracian cav. So just be aware of that when you bring the bow horsemen. They are useful, only coming in at 400. Though, be aware, if they get breathed on, they will, die. They got no armor, no health, none of that. But they do the 40 damage, which is quite nice, and they do have heavy shot too, so they can do a lot of damage. Merc Thracian cav, unlike the Peltast, they don't have the 41 damage. Probably better against Saba than the Bow Horsemen due to the Javelins of bonus versus large. They do have good melee stats, 40 armor, which is unexpected, but average health and morale, actually quite low morale. The 450, 550? I forgot what their price is. I think it's like 450, 550. Don't bring them unless you absolutely need to, because your funds have to be focused around your sword infantry and your skirmishers. By sword infantry, I mean like the literal one unit you have as a sword, those swords, and your good skirmishers. So only bring them if it's absolute must. And a personal favourite, the Spear Horsemen, 550. Not the best stats overall. Not the best stats. They are survivable with 60 armor and 90 health. They're heavy, and that's the key. Unlike the Citizen Cav, these guys are Barb Citizen Cav. They're tanky, don't do very much damage in terms of melee stats. But unlike the Citizen Cav being medium, these guys are heavy. And they only cost 10 more. So if you guys get into archers, they will do a lot of damage. I've used them to great effect. 200 kills. Pretty easy if they get into your enemy skirms. Easy as Chevron at least. But they don't compare to other... They'll kill Light Horse. But anything above that, so a medium cav level, they're gonna struggle. But useful. Overall, Getae relies on its noble swords and elite skirmishers to get the job done, and it does have the option to invest into some cavalry if needed. Its low tiers are pretty poor, no mid tiers, but Folksmen are a nice unit to play around with, especially on defense. That's it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.